This is so relaxing. Mitsuri sighed happily, stretching her legs and arms. Hot baths always help me get rid of stress. What about you? Do you also take baths when stressed? I tried to speak up, but I couldn't help but look at her chest. How come she is? Perhaps because I am younger? They look painful to carry around. Anyways, I finally look at her eyes, which sparkled with interest. I never found myself in stressful situations, and I wasn't allowed to be stressed. Those types of emotions could cloud your reasoning and lead you reckless decisions. Mitsuru and I were bathing together. We spent the day listening to music and dancing. Let's just say I've never been missing out greatly when it comes to music genres and how to dance. And that I don't possess the same flexibility as Mitsuri. Not at all. What a boring and plain life. Mitsuri pouted before pressing my face between her hands. A young, pretty girl being treated as if they're an adult? No, not even an adult. You have to enjoy life. I know that. That's why I'm here, to be free and live my life as I choose. I said. Mitsuri still squashed my face. Well, that's good, and I'm glad you did. She nodded with a hum, letting me go. Because we get to meet each other. I smiled kindly at Mitsuri. You're right. And now that you're here, I'll help you get rid of that stiff old lady attitude of yours. Mitsuri smiled, getting on her feet, then proudly placed her hands over her hips. Cute clothes, stunning makeup, girly things. This will be so much fun. Excuse me? Excuse me? I beg your pardon. I mean, wait a second. I thought we were training. Of course we're training, Mitsuri emphasized, helping me stand, but there's more in life. Besides sword skills, you need some girl time. I don't think that's necessary, I replied. Pretty sure it is, Mitsuri trailed off, getting out of the bath and wrapping a towel around herself. She then handed me a towel of my own. And even if it's not, take it as a gift from me to you. I really love spending time with someone. Even more PJ parties. Huh? Pajama party? I asked, tilting my head with interest. You've never had a pajama party before? Mitsuri gasped loudly before strongly holding me by my shoulders and shaking me fiercely. You've been missing out so much. What have you been doing this entire life? I apologize. I struggled to speak, getting dizzy as seconds passed by. Today I will teach you about pajama parties and what to do, Mitsuri said with great determination, letting go of my shoulders and now guiding me to her room. Pajama parties are always hosted in a bedroom. That's where your friends and you will hang out. That's the battlefield. Mitsuri slid open the door and sat me on a pillow that was laying beside the small table in the room. She then told the Kabushkis something I couldn't quite catch. There are many ways you do in pajama parties, Mitsuri kept explaining, sitting in front of me. She was smiling with great enthusiasm. You dance, listen to music, you play games, you chat with your friends about boys or love. And most of all, the Kabushkis knocked on the door, Mitsuri sliding the door open and helping the black-clothed people carry big leather and wooden boxes. Makeup and hairdo. Just as Mitsuki said, we danced some more and we listened to music some more. Hell, we even ate some more. I am not complaining at all, though. The games we played were mostly Truth or Dare, where we were both pretty awkward and took more than 5 minutes to think of a good dare or truth. I'm going to butcher this name. Panchiko and Hanafuda, sorry. Mitsuri and I put makeup on each other. I felt terribly. Now I was getting my hair braided while talking about boys. I learned a few things about the pillars and even Okiyama-sama. Oh, and maybe it was my blessing or my own charismatic, but Kojiro's rabbit really likes me, as well as the cats. You little buddies. And Hajijin was like Sanemi might like this cat, but I said he's more of a dog person. So although Shinagawa-san loves animals, his favorite pets are dogs. So we got him a dog. Did get it? Mitsuri chatted, braiding my hair skillfully. I also love cats. They are very cute and adorable. Do you have a favorite pet? Mother never allowed me to own a pet because she saw them as a waste of time and that I would have better and more important responsibilities. I stopped my thoughts and closed my mouth before saying it out loud. She might get annoyed, and I wouldn't sound too self-pitiful. Cats get my attention too, I replied, petting the small balls of fur on and around my lap. Dogs are too energetic and spontaneous. Cats, on the other hand, have self-control, even if they are funny and playful animals. True, true, Mitsuri agrees, nodding. Kojiro loves animals, but his father doesn't let neither him, Kojiro, nor is Senjiro have pets. Mitsuri finished braiding my hair. I just realized I've been calling her Mitsuki. Oh my god. My hair, to which I tilted towards the mirror and admired my hairdo. Senjiro is Kojiro's younger brother, right? I think Senjiro is a few years older than Kayaka. I never met him in person, though. Mitsuri said with the slightest worry as she rested a hand over her cheek. I see, I said, humming. How about a small fashion show before bed? The pink and green-haired said, with restless in her eyes. I nodded, her joyful expression intensifying. I have so many outfits you can try on. All of them can bring out your beauty even more. I tried every clothing in her room at least twice. Just as Mitsuri said, everything I tried on made me look pretty. And with very different clothing, there was a different hairstyle and makeup. I felt like I was a doll being dressed and changed. It was tiring, yet enjoyable. I liked it. Yet I wondered and realized that this was also a part of the training, because what happened next was something I never imagined. Oh, Mitsuri-san, don't. I tried to speak, but Mitsuri kept hitting me with her pillow pretty harshly. I tried to hit back, but she always managed to hit me. Pillows aren't meant for that. Ow, ow. Fight back, Yin-chan. Mitsuri giggled, still hitting me. You trained for this, didn't you? I stood up and ran, Mitsuri also getting on her feet and chasing me around the bedroom. She would often throw pillows at me, which I dodged thanks to the gods, literally, and from reflexes. I never trained for a pillow fight. There's a first time for everything, isn't it? Mitsuri laughed, lunging at me. She was heavy. She then got off me and cheered. My win. I see the Shenza River. I gasped for air, my entire body aching and hurt. I stared at the light of a candle that stood on the small table just a couple meters from me. I crossed the bridge and joined Natamu's Otiama and his 1,000,000 companions. You're funny. Mitsuri laughed softly before falling face first over her futon. She seemed to say something. Guessing by her muffled voice, she may have said she was tired. Are pajama parties always like this? I asked with a sigh, slowly reaching my futon and gladly laying on it. I was now looking at the ceiling. The softness and just perfect embrace of the pillow of the bed-like object beneath me slowly restored my strength and brought me relief. Peace. Yep, Mitsuri nodded, laying over her back, just as I was doing. She looked at me. And it gets more and more livelier when tons of friends come over. Why didn't you invite more people then? I asked. More girls, I mean. Mitsuri sighed loudly before answering. She stared at the ceiling with a small sun face. There aren't many female pillars, as you already know. The kabushiki are too rigid and awkward. I want them to have fun, and they're awkward. We should invite Shinobu-san next time, I suggested, trying to lighten up the mood. I'm sure she'll love this. Shinobu-san isn't too much into this kind of things, Mitsuri replied. Oh, I managed to say. The applicant was uncomfortable, and even though we couldn't see each other's faces due to the candles and light source being turned off, I knew Mitsuri was depressed, as in emotion, not mentally. Hey, Mitsu-chan, I whispered, getting the female's attention. We never talked about love. Oh, true. Mitsuri's voice yelled, and with surprise and content. You start. How was training with Michio? I saw he opened up to you lots. We had some sparring matches and I worked on my speed and strength, but aside from that, it was all right. I don't know. I replied sincerely. We had the bonding moments, such as when we went to chase and catch fireflies. We hiked. We cooked dinner together. Always, and if there was no one in this world like you, then that makes you a goddess. My face flushed red as soon as those memories flooded into my mind. I guess my silence quirmed Mitsuri's curiosity before she soon laid on her stomach and stared at me with bright, big eyes. The same eyes a kid has/makes when they have their favorite candy. You're stunned. What happened? It might have been something lovey-dovey. Give me the details already. Well, we stargazed and he slept in my shoulder, and he also told me some cute words. My words were interrupted by Mitsuri's happiness squeals. He was such a cutie pie with you. I'm so jealous. I would have died from too much cuteness if I saw that. And what did he tell you? I started to regret this, but it was already too late to turn back. Besides, talking about this with someone actually helps me reveal myself. That I'm kind and smart and pretty. Just normal compliments. I'm very sure Michio-kun likes you, Mitsuri said confidently. I hope he isn't. I sighed slightly, reaching my hand over the other. I already belong to someone. My son's silence concerned Mitsuri. Yin? My ring. What ring? Mitsuri asked half-word. Did Michio give you a ring or... No. It was Tanjiro who gave it to me when we... I soon stopped myself, shaking my head to then half-search around my bag. My ring was nowhere to be seen. Never mind that. The subject that matters is the ring. What happened to it? She questioned, looking at me and then at the bag. It's gone. I sighed, rolling on my side. I will search thoroughly tomorrow. If I don't find it, I'll ask Michio or Kayaka if they saw my ring. Okay. Mitsuri yawned and closed her eyes, smiling. Good night. Good night, I hummed, closing my eyes as well and drifting off into sleep. But out of the blue, not even caring about what time it was. Hey, Yin. I heard Mitsuri whisper. Yin-chan, are you awake? I hesitantly opened my eyes, nodding. Yes. Poison potatoes. She smirked. I half laughed, trying my best not to sound tired. Poison potatoes? Poison potatoes. Mitsuri giggled, kicking her legs as she unsuccessfully tried to contain her laughter. This will be a long night. The next morning, I sent letters to everyone, telling them about my current and future inabilities to answer their letters. For Mitsuri and I were going to be busy these 4 days. And oh, indeed we were. At least 3 days. Yesterday, we had a small sword match. The result were 22 in her favor and 18 in mine. Once again, we had pillow fights and conversations in which I began to open up and talk less formally. Today, after a Mitsuri-styled and now Yin-style as well breakfast, both Kanjiro and I went shopping and eating nearby. The pink-haired and her kabushki painted my hair. What? Painted my hair favorite color so I wouldn't get in trouble with the flowers or whatnot. I learned a lot more about women and fashion, such as combining clothes and what cosmetics work for what. So many things that were part of everyday life, yet I never fully understand them. Also, I'm afraid that I may have developed an unhealthy liking going fragrant shopping and
compulsive buying. While buying accessories and makeup on the 16th store we have visited during the day, Mitsuri and I saw Obanai. He was busy looking at some centenarians. I never took him as a sweet tooth. Ikiro-san, hi! Mitsuri waved her hand, trying to get the male's attention. Good evening. I dared to speak up, but I was too shy to do so. What in my mind I saw as shouts. In reality, they were very vulgar expressions. Obanai-san's snake unwrapped from the blacket's figure, leaping forwards and rapidly slithering my way until he coiled around my dominant arm. The reptile seemed quite happy to see me. Gabaruma, come back, Iguro whispered/yelled, the snake paying no heed to his word and instead licking my hand. You traitor. Good to see you again. Oh, good to see you around, Iguro-san. Mitsuri beamed, hugging the aforementioned boy that gladly hugged back. The hug didn't last much, though. How have you been? How have you been? Yin. And Yin-chan and I were shopping right now. There are these super cute and awesome things we bought. It seems your pet snake really likes me. I smiled softly, petting the snake before extending my arm out to Obanai-san. The snake hesitantly at first rested over the blacket's shoulder once again. First of all, he is not something so low and degrading as a pet. Obanai glared at me with disdain. Second, his name is Kabaruma. Oh, sorry about that. I apologized, embarrassed. I then realized something. By the way, aren't you going to buy the sakura mochi? The mister is waiting for you to pay. Obanai-san jolted and turned around quickly, then slammed some coins and bills on the counter, scaring the man at the other side of the counter. Obanai-san then glared at me once more. There. Said man counted the money, soon sweating with fear. Excuse me, you're missing 4,000 yen. Are you saying I don't know how to count? Obanai said with a scary voice, his eyes reflecting nothing but loathe and murder. Sir, you bought 10 pounds of sakura mochi. The man shivered, fearing for his life. You only paid for 6. Before Obanai-san could murder the conflicted vendor, I cleared my throat and handed the man, oh my god, at least 2 million yen. Both Obanai-san and him looked at me with wide eyes. I'll pay for whatever he owes you. I smiled kindly at the vendor. He seemed to shed tears to relief and greatness. And also, I want to buy a few things too. At your service, little lady. The vendor nodded. I want difuku, I think that's how you say it, matcha mochi taraki, arma, mocha ara, some honey drops, keitomo, I'm gonna butcher all these, holy shit, ashirushana? Oh, and also some yoka and caramel drops. Rice cakes. Do you have niriki wasashi by any chance? Being so rich is so cool. Mitsuri beamed, almost done with her sakura mochi treat. Obanai was walking beside Mitsuri, and she walked beside me. A few kabushiki walked behind us, carrying plethora of boxes and wrappings. You bought almost everything in the store. I need a bath to cool down. I smiled at Mitsuri with a long sigh. I think I've been out too much, 'cause I feel like buying the entire city. Hanawa, the capital of candy and clothing, Mitsuri said with awe, clasping her hands together and nodding at me. It sounds great, actually. Oh, stop it now. I giggled, Mitsuri following. It was awkward for Obanai-san to hear a conversation between girls, yet he didn't feel left out. He said he wanted to escort Mitsuri, only her, to her estate, to make sure only she arrives safely. During our gossip time, Mitsuri told me about her crush on Obanai-san, so being the kind friend I was, I moved backwards distantly until only Obanai-san and Mitsuri were left. She looked at me at least a few minutes after I was no longer there, wondering why I moved. I only smiled at her and gave her a thumbs up. I saw Mitsuri talking to Obanai-san a lot, Many things I knew and many things that were new to me. It was nice to see both of them bonding and portraying their potable and hopefully undying love towards each other. I'm starting to miss Tanjiro. I should write him a letter. My ring. I need to ask Michiru about my ring. Or perhaps Shinobu. Oh, if Tanjiro finds out, he will surely be sad. Excuse me? A kabushki said, trying to get my attention. I turned my head behind me. The kabushki jolted. Don't worry about it. If you want to talk to me, it's all right. I smiled hopelessly. I am on the same level as you. Well, not much. You are far more hardworking than me. I could never do all the work you do. That's not true, a male kabushki exclaimed. You're too frightful to even look at a demon. And you fight them. We could never do that. Yeah, that's true. He's right, the other agreed, nodding. Without the support that all of you give us, we demon slayers would be as good as dead. Even me, I encouraged. I appreciate and admire all the work you do to us. But anyways, I may sound a little bit formal, but that doesn't mean you guys can't talk to me. I ended up explaining a nice friendship with the kabushkis. It was awkward at first since I tried to use many slang words that Mitsuri used or taught me. I guess some were outdated for a few kabushki. Softly laughed at the way of talking. I felt so embarrassed, yet I encouraged myself to keep talking. They admired me vastly, and not because of my position, but because of myself. I felt special and important. Hesitantly, my face turned red from embarrassment and because of all the praises. I know why Inosuke likes being praised. We finally arrived to Mitsuri's estate, Obanai-san calling me and the Pazushki sternly. Stop your useless chit-chat and hurry up, Hanua, and you remember your place and do your job. Sorry, all right. I apologized before resuming my conversation with the others. Do you need help? I am more than glad to lend you a hand. Oh, we're fine, really. Teru, a male kabushki, reassured, ruffling my hair. You better visit us often and write us letters after this. Yeah, you're very funny to talk to. Hitomo, a green-eyed female, added, beaming. She's the one that escorts Tanju to the swordsmith village. We should do something together someday. I know. I snapped my fingers, looking at Mitsuri. Hey, me, Susan. How about we try to make Western food today? Mitsuri stopped talking with Obanai. She gasped very loudly as she smiled as a bright and big smile as she could. I love Western food. What are we making? How about hamburgers? I suggested. Half girlers? Huh? Mitsuri tilted her head confused. Oh, no. Hamburgers. I giggled, trying to pronounce the word as best as possible. It has beef, so I know you would both like it. We totally should try it, Mitsuri said, looking at Obanai-san. You should tag along. I have a mission to do. Maybe later, Obanai said, turning his back to us and leaving. So hard-working. Isn't he amazing? Mitsuri sighed lovingly, bringing her hands to the center of her chest. He really seems like a good guy. I nudged Mitsuri playfully. You have a really good eye for men. Yen-chan, Mitsuri blushed, covering her face. The hamburger was a success. They were better than expected, truth be told. Mitsuri and I and the kabushki finally became friends, but they still respected her as their superior. Guessing by Mitsuri always trying to eat and just cook beef patties, she was really impatient to eat. We made at least 200 hamburgers for the kabushki, Mitsuri, and me. We accompanied the hamburgers with honey lemon, which brought out the meat's flavor lots. This is heavenly, Mitsuri groaned with delight, finishing her burger and quickly grabbing another one. I want to only eat this from now on. I memorized the recipe, Yin-san. I hope it's all right. Teru said, eating almost as fast as the aforementioned pink-haired. I don't mind at all, I chuckled at everyone's behavior, eating calmly just in great amounts. I really miss this food anyways. After we finished eating, the Pazushki cleaned the kitchen and Mitsuri and I went to bathe once again. The hamburgers were delicious, Mitsuri said with joy, swimming around. I never tried them before. And they are great for people with that exercise often. I said also swimming. Meat is a good source of protein, which helps you have stronger muscles. The only thing I dislike is the amount of grease that burgers have. Yeah, I relate to that. Mitsuri nodded. She then whimpered sadly as she brought me to herself to hug me. Oh, you're leaving tomorrow. I don't want you to leave. You're like my bestest friend in the world. I will write you letters as often as I can, Misu-chan, I promise. I giggled, hugging Mitsuri back. And guess who is thinking of buying her own estate? Mitsuri gasped, locking her eyes with me and holding me by the shoulders. No way. Maybe next to someone's estate? I sang in a sing-song voice, making Mitsuri's joy grow even bigger. Next to the estate of a girl whose name begins with Mit and ends in Suri. That was the last straw. Mitsuri screamed with excitement, standing up and hugging me even tighter than before. She then spun me around before slipping and falling back into the water. We both laughed, sitting up. I can't wait for you to do that, Mitsuri sighed with content, looking at nothing in particular. We will have lots of pajama parties, we'll eat lots of burgers, and we'll invite Shinobu-chan to join us. You bet, I nodded at the green-eyed, holding her shoulders. I then sighed, stretching a little and slowly swaying my legs up and down. I went to visit Kayaka. I do miss him. I haven't sent him any letters these days. Hanoa-san, I heard Kitsu audacious voice calling me from the hall. Speaking of which, I called up from the water and quickly dried myself, Mitsuri following. We put on pink robes and I opened the door. Meet me in the bedroom. As soon as Mitsuri and I were in the room, we saw Kitsu already there, in her mouth half-torn paper. Her breath was rigid, and I could read and feel the terror and distress in her eyes. My face turned pale, and my calm self began to slowly consumed by fear. Hanoa-san, terrible, terrible news, she said, her voice trembling quite often. Inosuke and Zenitsu are fighting, and Kayaka got injured, so I could bring you this letter. Goodness, Mitsuri gasped loudly, covering her mouth with both her hands. She then turned her head in my direction, looking at me with the same amount of fear as Kitsu had. Here's the letter. Kitsu set the torn paper on my lap. I tried to unfold it with swiftness, but my hand shook gratefully, frightening me. After a few attempts, the letter finally opened for me. Mitsuri and Kitsu read, Hanoa, I'm trying to write this letter as slightly as possible. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. If I tell Tanjo, if I tell the pillars, if I tell Shinobu-san, even if I tell Okita-sama about this, I'll end up losing Inosuke and you. I want you to come and get me out of the butterfly estate. But you will be in danger if you do so. I don't have much time. Scribble. Already heard me. Scribble, scribble. You, scribble, was poisoned. Scribble, scribble. The rest got torn, I said with despair and anger, standing up quickly. I must go there, even if it might expose me to danger. I can't leave Kayaka. I'm going with you, Mitsuri hummed distressfully, getting on her feet as well. Thank you, Mitsuri. I nodded, smiling with hope, oh so dimly. That's what friends are for, Mitsuri replied before holding my hand and running off. Let's go. A few hours ago, saying that Kayaka was terrified was an understatement. He felt at death's door. Kayaka was already jumping the few days, and he evaded Zenitsu as much as possible. Tanjo and Shinobu knew that something was terribly wrong, but every time they would ask Kayaka, said kid would give them the most heartbreaking smile and say, I'm tired, that's all. Inosuke's snores and frigid grumbles always soothed him down, the black-haired infant, but somehow, Kayaka was still awake that night. He was sitting in front of a desk, slightly writing something on a paper. The boy barely made a sound. Even his breath was inaudible. Kayaka finally decided to tell you about Zenitsu's condition. He knew that Zenitsu's hearing was sharp, but he did his best to write the most brief of letters. There's no time to waste. Luckily, yet unfortunately, the night was relatively silent. With no loud noises to cover his rescue litter attempt, he had to be as cautious as possible. Once Kayaka heard the sound of a door sliding open, everything seemed to freeze in a cold, mute, and terrifying movement. Kayaka felt a soul leave his body, and when the blonde hair shining against the moon's beam, and those yellow eyes, I could get easily confused. The devils. Kayaka was soon silenced, for Zenitsu hovered his sword really close to the kid's throat. Don't, Zenitsu whispered/yelled with urge and despair. Please, just don't yell, and listen to me. Get away from us, Kayaka said through gritted teeth, holding back tears and cries. Leave Hanua alone. I just want you to understand why I did that. Please, just one chance. It's all I'm begging you for. Zenitsu spoke, sobbing practically. Look, I love Yin like no other, and she's leaving me. I had no choice. I said leave us alone, Kayaka shouted, pushing Zenitsu away, and his legs as Kayaka's hand slid off the bed's covers and revealing the small dagger. Inosuke! Pig assault! The aforementioned male quickly slid out of the covers and jumped on Zenitsu's back, twisting the blonde's left arm while pinning him against the floor. Trying to attack a kid? You're more fucked up than I thought. Get off me, you stupid boarhead. Zenitsu began to struggle and squirm around, his nails carving the wooden floor, making an eerie and creepy sound. Keep him like that. Kayaka took the chance to pierce Zenitsu with the dagger, but oh, how big was both Kayaka and Inosuke surprised when Zenitsu strongly gripped onto the dagger by its handle. You two are sure some fucking nerve, the yellow-haired boy said in a dark tone, plummeting the dagger in Inosuke's forearm. The dagger made a hissing sound, and Inosuke fell face first on the wooden floor. Zenitsu slowly got up and began to approach Kayaka. Don't you dare! Inosuke struggled to say, losing his mobility as seconds went by. If you hurt Kayaka, I'll fucking kill you. Shut it, you pig bastard. Zenitsu spat coldly, kicking Inosuke on the face. He then glared at Kayaka, who was slowly backing until he was cornered against the wall. You coward, Kayaka said, breathing rapidly and hiding the letter within his clothes. You stupid bastard coward. So, are you? Hiding behind Inosuke. Zenitsu scoffed, crouching in front of Kayaka. Don't worry, he's just paralyzed, isn't he? He'll be fine. And if not, you can make an antidote without a problem. You designed that poison, after all. I'm telling Hanua and everyone about this, Kayaka spat angrily. Shinobu and the others are definitely about to kick this door down and beat your ass. Shinobu and the other girls? I have them snuffered, so no one else but you. Pathetic excuse as a hero can hear us. And I would rather you don't tell Yin anything. It's too early to let her know, now is it? Zenitsu stood up, looking down at the kid. Hand me that letter, Kayaka. You know it's what's best not only for you, but also for Yin and Inosuke. I might even take it on Shinobu and everyone else, you know. Hanua will never love you, Kayaka said as firmly as possible, his fisted hand trembling with terror. No matter who you kill or what you do to Inosuke or me, she will never look at you. Can't you say that? I'm trying to protect her from Tanjiro, Zenitsu shouted with frustration. He only cares about her because of his older son bullshit. He sees her as a responsibility. He doesn't love her. Now give me that letter. No, Kayaka shouted back. Suddenly Zenitsu held him by his hori, lifting him harshly and making Kayaka shriek in both fear and pain. Let me go. Kayaka! Inosuke yelled furiously, his body barely flinching, yet in bloodshot eyes all of his useless emotions were more to him. You're dead, Mitsu. You're so fucking dead. Give me the letter. Zenitsu began tugging Kayaka's hori, tearing it and ripping it apart. The black-haired infant kept nagging, kicking around and trying to punch the blonde in front of him. Kayaka got his torn hori off and scrambled in front of Inosuke, placing a pill inside the dark-haired male's mouth, and then grabbing his sword. This made Zenitsu laugh. You can even kill a demon, and you think you can defend yourself and Inosuke? He must have really filled your brain with fake-ass stories and lies. Zenitsu's mocks were no more, for Inosuke leapt from behind Kayaka, wasting no time to beat Zenitsu into a pulp. Inosuke! Kayaka cried, watching with terror. Scratches, punches, kicks, and even bites. Blood coming out and skin slowly but surely covering with bruises and violet circles. Go get Manchu's help, Inosuke said. This guy is far from gone. Kayaka nodded shakily before running out of his room. He quickly dashed to the infirmary room. Tanjiro wasn't there. His bed was empty and the window was open. Hanawa must know what's going on, Kayaka said to himself, looking around. I must give her the letter as soon as possible. Give me the letter, a crow called from the windowsill. I'll reach Kitsu faster. Who are you? Kayaka asked, still holding onto the sword. I'm Inosuke's crow, the crow replied. Kayaka looked around before handing the letter to the crow. Said animal swiftly grabbed the paper in its beak and soared higher and forward, determined to fulfill his mission. Sadly, neither Kayaka nor the black feathered bird realized that the letter was torn.